Happy Victory Monday and welcome back to another episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Yes, welcome back to a nice Victory Monday edition of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 284. Yes, a lot of players on this one. How about the Jermaine Lewis episode of the Purple Rain Podcast? I can give you a Josh Oliver, a Darren Waller, a Philip Supernall. Yeah, how about that? And a Dixon episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you for coming through and spending your Monday evening with us. We truly appreciate you and love you. Got a lot of good news to talk about, obviously. But first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram and on X at SunDef. Follow me on X at SimplyAS10 or on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. 9 days away from Christmas. Might be too late, but there always is, the Boxing Day. Boxing Day is 10 days away, so if you celebrate that, maybe you can get a gift in time, who knows. But use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. It is the best deal on the internet. But first, I have to ask you, Mr. Sutton, how was your weekend?
The weekend was actually very good. Very productive weekend, just kind of personally. But Sunday came around, and Sunday kind of pulled up on me quick, to be honest with you. And I realized that Ravens football was back. That put me in good spirits, in a good mood. I knew it was kind of like I don't want to say a low stakes game, because if we would have lost that game, it would have been all doom and gloom, major doom and gloom today, right? Purple Pain Podcast to the 10th degree. But the game went really well. There was no point in which I was really stressed in that game at all, which I didn't really expect to be. Again, some people were calling it might be like a trap game, whatever. But overall, I had a great weekend, and I'm excited to see how the Rain Gang is feeling about this big victory that the Ravens got yesterday. And I say big victory because they got back in the win column. Damn it. That's what happened. It's a wins losses league, and we got to win. We got to celebrate them. And that's what we're here to do tonight here on this episode 284 of the Purple Rain Podcast, talking about the Ravens kind of playoff push that they're going to try to make here in these next couple of weeks. Lamar Jackson's 5-touchdown performance. And then, is it still realistic that the Ravens could maybe capture the AFC North crown? We'll talk about all that and more on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Before we get into anything else, make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new here. And if you're watching over on X, hello. Shout out to you guys. X has been very good to us recently, and we appreciate y'all for joining in on X. And then also Instagram. If you're watching on Instagram, hello. Shout out to you as well. We love y'all all the same. But maybe pop over to YouTube so you can give us a like, give us a sub. Hey, man, it's the holiday season. If there's anything you want to gift the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, maybe gift us a like, right? Gift us a sub. That'd be great. We also have the super chats. You guys know that. Okay, so let's get into who we have here in the live chat. We've got Mod K-Dog, of course, showing up and showing out per usual, giving a hashtag shout out to the Replay Gang. What's going on, Replay Gang? If you're not watching live and you're part of the Replay Gang, thank y'all so much for coming through to this episode. Simply as 10 saying like the video, smash that damn like button. You already know what it is. Smash the damn like button. The thumbs up button's right there. Just go ahead and hit it. And then drop your questions, your burning questions that you have about this Ravens team down below. Go ahead and do both of those things for me. Let me see. RJ says, let's go. We back, baby. Been waiting all day long. Yes, sir, RJ. We are back. We are so back, man. I'm back in the Raven spirit, Alex. I know it's Christmas time and everything like that. And, everybody's doing their Christmas shopping and getting all festive and whatnot. I was so happy that the Ravens went out there and gave us a 100% stress-free performance yesterday, and really looked like the dominant team that they're supposed to look like against a bad team. Historically, and I guess we can just kind of start getting into our biggest takeaways from this game kind of right here. This is a perfect segue. Historically, the Ravens will play down to their competition in a lot of different scenarios, right? Hell, the last time we played the Giants, we played down to our competition and we left with a loss, right? So I was very, very happy to see that the Ravens, and I know they're coming off of a bye. I know it's the Giants. I know they're angry because they, went into the bye week with a loss. So they have extra motivation to go out there and kick the Giants' ass, which they did. But like I mentioned on the last episode of the show, man, the G-men, they're nothing but another professional team. That's what they are. 2-11, 2-17. I don't care what the record is. Any given Sunday is a real thing. I'm old enough to remember back in, I want to say it was 2007, I want to say, the Ravens lost to the winless Miami Dolphins in the regular season. And I literally shed a tear that day. That's how bad it hurt. That's how bad our Ravens hurt me that day. And to see that the Ravens in 2024 here can take care of business against these bad teams and do what they're supposed to do and look damn good doing it, I love to see that. But Alex, I want to get your reactions, your takes from this game. What was your biggest takeaway from the Ravens 35-14 domination over the Giants yesterday?
I didn't really celebrate that much because I expected that, to the point where, I expected us to win by a lot, and I'm happy we did. Got on my seat probably for the Bateman touchdowns, maybe the Andrews, probably even the Tez Walker, probably for all of them. But outside of that, business per usual. You're supposed to win that game, and I've kind of made it known I'm not getting my hopes up. Saturday is really the day where I'll find out what this team is about, and if they win it, then maybe I can start, having a little bit more faith. But as of now, I'm gonna take a nice, just sit back, relax, and wherever we go, we go. Not expecting much, but expecting a win hopefully on Saturday. But it was a good win. It was a very good win. It was relaxing for a fan like us sitting at home. No nail biters, no letting Tim Boyle come in and having a legacy drive on us like we've seen, Gardner Minshew do to us. We've seen other quarterbacks that had no business to driven down on us. But a win is a win, and I'm happy this team didn't overlook them. And there were some pieces I thought we really improved on over the bye week, and I'll be happy to talk about them. But it's a little bit of hope for the future, I want to say.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of hope. I think that's one thing that I took away from this game. The most paramount thing is just hope. Again, like you said, this was business as usual. You expect to go out and dominate a team like the Giants that's been struggling all season. They're a poverty franchise. Hopefully they can turn it around. Maybe the word is they might draft Shedeur Sanders over the offseason, and we'll see what that looks like next year. But yeah, man, I took a lot of hope from this game. I do want to get into some of the stats from this one, if you don't mind. And I know you say you have some takes about, what we really improved upon. I want you to kind of mix those in here as well. I think it'll kind of go hand in hand after I read down these stats. So Lamar Jackson, of course, 21 for 25, 290 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did have one fumble loss, though, early in the game on the very first Ravens drive. He lost that fumble. But then after that, he was just on fire, just on a heater for the rest of his game, right? Because he didn't finish the game, obviously. We had Josh Johnson come in and finish the game. But Lamar Jackson was just absolutely phenomenal yesterday. He had his 6th Jackson 5 in his career. That's 6 games in his career with 5+ passing touchdowns. That is absolutely just insane. It's insane. We'll probably touch on the whole MVP talks and everything like that because those talks are still heating up, and I think it's worth just kind of touching on it, just to touch on it. But going down the list here, Derrick Henry had 14 carries yesterday for 67 yards, averaging 4.8 a pop. He really started coming on in that second half, breaking off some big runs there. Lamar Jackson was the second leading rusher with 6 carries for 65 yards, averaging 10.8 a rush, and he had a long rush of 21 yards. Of course, we had some other guys coming to this game towards the end. Rasheen Ali saw a little bit of daylight in garbage time, had 8 carries for 32 yards, 4 yards a pop. Justice Hill had 2 for 7. Getting to the receivers, and I have a feeling that one of the areas of improvement that you might want to talk about is with the receiving core. Am I accurate with that or no?
That
not really.
I saw an improvement of. It's actually there's nothing offensively. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. Okay. Cool. Let me go through these offensive numbers first. We'll touch on the offense, then we'll get over to the defense. Rashad Bateman, 3 catches for 80 yards. Justice Hill, 5 for 61. Zay Flowers, 6 for 53. Nelson Aguilar, 1 for 26. Mark Andrews, 2 for 24. Devontae Walker, 1 catch, 21 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, likely 2 for 17. And Tylan Wallace, he hauls in his weekly target as usual, 1 catch for 8 yards. So for me, this was the game here, as we have over 130 people watching live so far. Thank y'all so much for joining this episode 284 of PRP. We appreciate y'all. But look, for me, this was the game that really stamped why the Ravens do not need to rush to bring back a Diontae Johnson, and we'll get into him later too, and why the Ravens don't need an Odell Beckham Jr., right, who was just waived by the Miami Dolphins not too long ago. This is something that I know you probably have a totally different opinion than me on. I know you're a big OBJ guy, but I feel like this was the game that kind of proved to you we got OBJ at home. We got OBJ level production at home when it comes to Rashad Bateman. And I know we've both been pushing this Bateman agenda, but you know, he never really goes off for like a 6 or 7 catch game. And it really got me thinking, like, if Bateman can be this efficient, right, scoring touchdowns on only 2-3 catches, right, Mark Andrews is getting his, Zay Flowers is getting his, it really makes you wonder, like, did Lamar Jackson ever really need a bona fide, legitimate wide receiver one? And when I say wide receiver one, I'm talking about a guy like what Amon-Ra St. Brown is to Jared Goff, for example, or what AJ Brown would be to like a Jalen Hurts, somebody who's going to get their target, somebody who can easily finish the game with like 7, 8 to 10 catches, right? CeeDee Lamb to the Cowboys, right? We have never really had that, you know what I mean, in the Lamar Jackson era. And I think that Lamar Jackson does such a good job distributing the football, and he's able to do that because he's able to break down plays, get out of the pocket, extend plays, and really get anybody he wants to involved as long as they're willing to work for it. I think that as of now, and let me know if I'm crazy for saying this, I think that the Ravens don't need a bona fide, legitimate wide receiver one. They just need competent guys on the outside who can get separation, right, who can keep a play alive and come back to their quarterback. I think that's really all they need. Backyard football guys. Once guys learn how to play that way, you succeed in this offense with Lamar. What do you think?
I'm going to have to disagree there. If you offer me the chance right now to get A.J. Brown in this offense, I'm taking it by the scruff. I want as many playmakers as I can. I just feel like we're still missing a certain frame of a receiver, and that would be your 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" tall guy who can go up and get you a 50-50 ball. When it's 3rd and 7, I love what we have now. I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but that to me, that's like the one missing piece in this offense. Skill-wise, I'd say. Mine obviously could be better, but if you offer me that opportunity, hell yeah, I take it. But with what the cap's looking like, most likely won't happen. I don't think we get the most money to spend next year, unless we can get somebody to draft them. But I would love to have them. But as of right now, I mean, I just don't see it happening. But you kind of got to take, it's like playing cards. You're dealt a certain hand of cards. Like, so we're dealt. We aren't dealt the number one A.J. Brown. We aren't dealt an A.J. Green prototype, who I think would be like the perfect prototype of receiver in this offense, like an A.J. Green build. Fortunately, it's not going to happen. You got to trade for them, and we don't do that.
Yeah, Shamil Malik brings up here, Rashad Bateman is way more important to this offense than fans thought. I know me and you were both on the Rashad Bateman train. Do you think that Rashad Bateman has kind of reached have we seen his ceiling, or can he still get better? Are there still more things that he can improve upon? So maybe he can turn into like that AJ Green like threat.
He's still not being used correctly, in my opinion. Like he feasts 15, 20 yard intermediate routes, and we're seeing him on deep routes. Like he can run everything, and we're seeing him been used as a deep threat. And I thought he was even missed for another one yesterday. I thought Lamar underthrew him. Like he had separation. Like Lamar airs that more. That's another touchdown for Bate. But he is very important in this offense right now. I think he deserves a couple more targets, hopefully. But that's 7 touchdowns now. That's 600 and some yards on 35 or 36 catches for a 3-year, $15 million contract. That is very, very good business by the Ravens front office right there. That's what that is.
Yeah. Sign the extension right on time. Right on time. We've got this guy for a few more seasons, and like you said, he is so important to our offense right now. And I think that going forward, I would like to see him get involved, like you said, in more intermediate routes. I know that the deep routes are something that they've been kind of, Lamar Jackson's really just been throwing it up to Bateman. And I like that, though. I like that because I think it really does build the confidence and trust from Lamar Jackson to Rashad Bateman, knowing that, like, hey, like I see Rashad Bateman deep maybe 2-3 times a game. And us fans, we were upset earlier in the season and in seasons past, when we would look at the all 22 footage, we would see Rashad Bateman getting open deep and Lamar Jackson just simply not looking his way. So the fact that Lamar Jackson is looking his way now, I think that speaks volumes to their relationship from quarterback to receiver. Lamar Jackson wanted to get Rashad Bateman the hat trick yesterday. You could tell he did. He underthrew that one ball a little bit. I personally thought that, Rashad Bateman could have maybe worked his way back to it, maybe picked up the PI, things like that. And maybe that's the next evolution of his game. I would love to see it. But no, man, Rashad Bateman, he's been awesome so far this season, and I can't say it enough. This guy, he's a legitimate wide receiver too, bona fide. Yeah.
I want to say this though, he could have easily taken the easy way out and had his confidence ruined after the one ball hit him right in the face.
Facts.
But
yeah.
He was, mentally tough coming out there. The Steeler game, he had a nice catch, got absolutely laid out by Patrick Queen. Took the hit, held on the ball, and since then, Chargers game made plays, and even yesterday making plays. So let me see it on Saturday. I feel like he has something in store for us against the Steelers, but that's kind of if we can really see him get another touchdown, another big play, it's just heating up towards the playoffs, which this offense could really use.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And this playoff push is going to be absolutely huge. Like we said, Saturday's game is going to be the real litmus test on whether or not this Ravens team is for real this season. Going up against, again, for a lack of better words, one of the Ravens demons that they're fighting right now, which is beating the Steelers, right? The other one, of course, beating the Chiefs. But it starts here. It starts here, if I'm being honest with you. Like, you got to get this one just for your confidence, for your pride, just for mainly the confidence going towards the playoff. And you guys see the title of the video is are we preparing for a Ravens playoff surge? Is this one of those, is yesterday's game kind of indicative of the start of something special, right? And here's where I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, because you brought up the improvements on the defense. I want to, hear this from you first. What are some of the biggest improvements that you saw on defense?
I thought Roquan Smith was a big improvement. I thought he played a lot better yesterday and a lot faster, something that we hadn't seen all year. Like, he was, flying around. I thought, he wasn't letting guys, hit him and break loose. He was, wrapping him up, which was really, really good to see. Basically, everybody in the secondary, not named Brandon Stevens, I thought, where it was all right. I saw Marlon Humphrey didn't have the best pass rating against Malik Neighbors, but I think it was like 2 or 3 catches for 20 yards. Like, that's going to happen. But I thought Nate Wiggins played very, very well. Hamilton, obviously, Ardarius, it was nice to see we were stopping their run with Michael Pierce being back. Like, having those guys healthy. Nnamdi Madubuike, I thought, was an absolute force. Unfortunately, though, a little bit undisciplined. As for the roughing the passer call, I don't know how you expect a man that size to just stop himself and, adjust his weight. That's a lot of weight, but
yeah,
rules are rules, I guess. But I thought we looked really good. But one thing I'm really, really happy, I don't want to switch gears too much, I thought the special teams was a lot better. We've been harping on that. Punt return, we may have found a punt return in Desmond King. And I know this isn't something us Ravens fans usually deal with, but Justin Tucker, 5 extra points, 5 makes. It may have went under the radar, but something like that is really good for his confidence right now. It's not like it was hugging each side. Like, it was, down the middle, looking good. The weather was a little iffy there yesterday too, so good for Justin Tucker. But honestly, the defense, another good performance, and just stacking those good performances from weeks prior and against better offenses as well.
Yeah, and you bring up the special teams. That is something that's going to go unnoticed. The fact that Justin Tucker 5 for 5 on extra points. So you might just think like, oh, it's just an extra point, but you also have to remember extra points aren't the same as they used to be, right? In years past, like they're actually a lot longer now. What is it, like 30 yards? It's like a 30-yard field goal, I want to say, for an extra point. Something in that area, right? As opposed to it being like sub 20 yards, So I definitely think that's something. And that's something that's going to build his confidence, right? He didn't have to, he made 5 field goals. He went 5 for 5. He shot 100%. And that's going to be huge for him. That's going to be huge for him because he doesn't have like the thoughts of that miss from yesterday, right? And I think he can really build upon that performance, right? So we're still talking about the defense here. I wanted to bring up this little stat yesterday. So, of course, we knew going into this game that the Giants would probably at some point get desperate They would get down and get desperate, and they would start throwing the ball all over the place. And specifically, we know that they like to target one wide receiver in Malik Neighbors, right? Malik Neighbors is the guy on that team. He's a bona fide wide receiver one, rookie at that too. I think he's going to be special in this league. So I wanted to take some time to kind of go over how the Ravens DBs did against Malik Neighbors. How did they perform against him? So Malik Neighbors finished with 10 catches yesterday, right? Let's go ahead and go through the list here. So Marlon Humphrey had 3 targets against Malik Neighbors, 3 catches, three targets, 3 catches for 20 yards. Desmond King, 4 targets, 3 catches for 28 yards. On Brandon Stevens, Malik Neighbors had 2 targets for 2 catches and 19 yards. On Kyle Hamilton, 1 target for 1 catch and 5 yards. And then this one really stood out to me. Nate Wiggins. So the Giants quarterbacks, whether it was DeVito or Tim Boyle, they came in and targeted Nate Wiggins while he was guarding Malik Neighbors 4 times. Nate Wiggins only allowed 1 catch for 9 yards against Malik Neighbors. Now, again, this is rookie on rookie action, right? But I personally think what I took from that is that Nate Wiggins, I think next year could be his breakout season. I think that he could emerge as like a top 5 corner, a lockdown guy. I think you give him a full offseason, after his rookie season, you give him a full offseason camp with the Ravens. He'll come back way stronger than he is this season. He'll probably, I don't know if he'll put on a little bit more weight or if he'll keep the same kind of frame that he's got right now. But the guy has great ball skills, right? He's got great ball skills. And I even said yesterday, like maybe him and Brandon Stevens can get in the lab and kind of bounce ideas off of each other, because Stevens, on the other hand, we're still seeing the lack thereof of ball skills, right? So what's your overall thoughts and opinions on Nate Wiggins in that game yesterday, and then just honestly so far this season?
I mean, he's good against kind of, smaller build receivers, little bit slimmer. Compared, if you throw him against a T. Higgins, it's not going to be as good. But he, I thought he was holding his own against a guy like Jamar Chase, not a big body guy, but obviously make those plays. But he's had, to me, a successful first year. Obviously, no picks, unfortunately, but not every corner's going to come in and get those picks. But he's been doing his job. He's been, locking guys down. He has a flag every once in a while. But I saw Stevens have 2 or 3 yesterday, down the sideline. So who knows if he'll be here next year? He is a free agent, depending what his price is. So getting Wiggins now, having him meaningful reps against, really, really good receivers is not hurting anybody. And I've been really, really, really happy with Nate Wiggins in his first year. And it just, he has he has a dog in him. I'll say it. And it's just really good to see. We tend to not miss on corners in the first round. And this is looking like the trend is going to continue.
Oh, you know what? I missed a super chat donation. We had a super chat donation from D. Was. What's going on, D. Was? Appreciate you for coming through, making it rain here on episode 284 of PRP. He says, what is your opinion on Lamar and Brad Allen yesterday? So obviously the penalties yesterday was just a huge kind of stain on yesterday's victory, I would say.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how many it was. I think I had the numbers pulled up right here. Yeah, 12 penalties for 112 yards against the Ravens yesterday. That's not winning football. That's not playoff football, right? We can ill afford to have this many mistakes. And it's just so crazy because going back to that Eagles game, the last game that they played, they barely had any penalties. I think they had 10 more penalties in this game than they did in the Eagles game. That type of volatility is just not, you cannot have that. You cannot have that sort of inconsistency. Again, I think that comes down to coaching. Maybe a little bit of it had to do with, the bye week, right? Guys kind of got to shake the rust off just a little bit, if any, and maybe that's what we were looking at. But what was your assessment on the penalties and the refereeing yesterday?
There was some where I felt like they just wanted the Giants to drive down on one of their touchdown drives. It's just like they were kind of just making stuff up as it happened. But going back to the whole roughing the passer stuff, and I hate to bring this up, if we were to play the Bills, you can call me a salty Ravens fan, a hater, or whatever. Josh Allen is the biggest flopper in the league. Like I saw it yesterday against the Lions. If you hit him, he will try to draw 4K. A flag. So
yeah,
yes, if you there's a literal highlight tapes of him flopping. that I didn't make. I promise you, it wasn't me. So when you face guys like that, that were trying to play the refs, number 15 in Kansas City as well, like you have to play perfect. It happened with Brady. I think I heard either Ray or Ed talking like you have to play perfect against these guys because you're not just playing them. It feels like sometimes. So you touch them the wrong way, they're gonna get a flag. And how many times did we see it when we went to Foxborough?
Yeah.
Or when you were playing Brady, like you got to get this stuff cleared up. I know you want to put a hit on them or lay a hit on them, but you got to be smart. And that's not smart football when you're just giving free 15 yards. And especially the guy like Matabike, who's making as much money as he is, like you're one of the leaders in the team. Like you got to just keep your head in the game. You got to just be smart. And some of it's on coaching, but others on players. Like they're not out there trying to tell you, they're not running at the quarterback and hitting them, late. So it's frustrating seeing all these flags because you won't go far with 12 penalties in the game in the playoffs. You'll be lucky to win 1 or 2 games. You can't go all the way doing this every game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Shifting gears from the penalties, he also asked what was our assessment of Lamar Jackson. Of course, the Jackson 5, incredible.
Yeah.
One key moment in that game, and I do have another comment I want to bring up here right after this, but one key moment in that game, I think it was early. Lamar rushes for like 15 yards and then stiff arms the guy out of bounds. That was, you love to see that, right? That was a little bit of frustration, I think, of course, after the fumble too. But every now and then Lamar Jackson just kind of pulls out kind of like that dog in him, right? And it's just so funny to see because I feel like nobody really sees it coming, but it just kind of comes out at random times. And I thought that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, that was nice. I've never seen that from him that much. I mean, standing up, not a guy chasing him down. Doesn't happen that much, but when it happens, it's nice. I
think he did it to a Chiefs player too.
Man, but the pants.
Yeah, he did.
Pulling up the pants mid-play.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
And you're like, what in your right mind, Lamar? Can you run that fast and pull up your drawers? Honestly,
yeah.
Like, I'm jealous of that speed and just like that. It's unbelievable.
It's how like it's like it's the whole man amongst boys thing, right? I mean, the guy's pants is like damn near falling down. He's like, oh, excuse me, let me just get right around you. I still got to pick up this first down. Like it's just nobody else is doing that. No one else is doing that. There's other elusive quarterbacks in this league, but there's just quite simply nobody. And when I say nobody, I mean absolutely nobody who can move the way that Lamar Jackson does. It's ridiculous to see. We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from the Flock Rundown. Shout out to you. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for coming through, making it rain here on this episode 284 of PRP, dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to the Flock Rundown as well, putting out great content over there. He says, much love, y'all. Keep killing it. Yes, sir. Will do. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the donation. We do have had a comment here from, let me see, Eli Sports Guy. Was going on, says, we still need to not make our passing downs so obvious by bringing Justice Hill in. We need to start keeping Henry on the field for some of those plays. I thought that we did a pretty decent job. at kind of like mixing up the play calls when Derrick Henry and Justice Hill was on the field. It wasn't totally consistent throughout the game, but there was one instance where I think it was like a 3rd and 4, and we had Justice Hill on the field, and I could have sworn we were about to pass, right? But they give Justice Hill the ball right up the middle, and he picks up the first down. And I was like, you know what? I love that call on 3rd and 4 because nobody sees it coming. If me as a Ravens fan who's been watching every single Ravens game for the past, I don't even know how many years of my life, if I don't see it coming, that's a good thing. It's probably a good thing. And I think, you could say the same. A lot of the plays sometimes are a little bit, especially when it comes to like, okay, are we going to run? Are we going to pass? It can be a little bit predictable, especially if you know the Ravens, if you watch them frequently. So seeing that was kind of cool. But I do agree with Eli here to an extent, like mix it up a little bit more, get a little bit more creative.
Yeah, and for 14 carries, it felt like we were reserving Henry to a point. I don't blame them. They weren't really doing too much with him. I see Shmuel brings up here. We didn't see one toss. Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of just, up the middle. And I'm not really mad at it because it's field turf. That's why I think I'm not mad at it at all. Like we have more important games than playing the Giants right now. You got this big 2 games coming up here. Like if we're going to run those plays, save them for here. And not on turf fields, not on MetLife.
That's fair.
No, thanks.
That's fair.
That's the last thing we need. That's why I'm the Keaton played. because they don't want to put him out there. I don't blame them. So I think we'll see him on Saturday. We'll definitely see a couple of tosses on Saturday, and hopefully he breaks one loose, especially if TJ Watt's not playing. But it looks like he will be
playing. Yeah. Yeah, when I saw TJ Watt go down, I was like, you know what, TJ Watt, you can get some rest. Don't even worry about next week, right? Yeah, take a couple weeks off, right? We'll see you in the playoffs, maybe. But no, he's definitely gonna play. George Pickens, he might play as well. I think they were actually kind of saving him for that Ravens game because obviously all the chips are on the line, and this one is for the AFC North on Saturday. So, okay, all right, let's talk about. My guy Sean Cole says, feeling like Diontae Johnson, I refuse to participate in the chat. Let's talk about Diontae Johnson really quick. I feel like we've talked about the Ravens versus Giants a good little bit. We'll probably touch on a few more things, but the Diontae Johnson, today it was announced that Diontae Johnson and the Ravens came to a mutual agreement to exclude him from team activities, right? Now, last week around this time, we were all thinking that Diontae Johnson would probably be back for the Steelers game. He was going to serve a 1-game suspension, and we were going to get him right back in the mix, and we're going to debut him again against his former team. But it does not look like that's going to happen at all. It looks like the Ravens are just kind of like keeping him, right? But just like excusing him. Like you don't got to show up, Diontae. Just stay over there. We're going to do what we do over here. You're still a Raven, right, for now, until we can offload you and get these comp picks, right? But yeah, what's your overall thoughts on the whole Diontae Johnson saga?
I kind of like what they're doing with him. They're honestly showing him a lesson. He's not going to play for the Ravens, I think, at all. Like, don't expect to see him on the field. We're holding on to him so another team can have him and to prove a point. Honestly, like what's going on with the 49ers right now. Like, why should you play when you don't come into a game? Like, why should we reward you for, conduct detrimental to the team? And that's, have fun getting a contract next year or getting one you think you're going to get. We're still going to get a comp pick off of you, probably like a 6th or 7th round, but a pick is a pick. We'll get a pick back. I don't hate what they're doing, honestly. Like, unfortunately, that's how it goes. And Diontae, you mess with the wrong team, I feel like. Pittsburgh, they'd let you go. Panthers let you go. Ravens, sometimes that stuff doesn't fly. And I would love to see him out on the field because I feel like he can help us out. He can definitely improve us in certain ways. But if he's still, if his head's not all the way there, if he's not 100% locked in, why should you be rewarded? It's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, and like I said last week, I think that it was just really like a total misunderstanding and a total miscommunication of between Diontae Johnson and the Ravens originally when they brought him into the fold, and kind of what they expected of him and what he thought they expected of him, right? Because I think that he was expecting to kind of come in and just be a featured guy. Like, you guys are going to get me my targets. I'm going to be in the mix immediately, right? Like, I'm going to move the needle for this team. I'm going to show you. That's literally what he said to Eric DeCosta over the phone. But the Ravens wanted him to come in and really buy into being a Raven. And honestly, when you bring in a personality guy like Diontae Johnson, who's had issues in the past with teams and, behavioral issues, you can't really bring him in mid-season and expect him to buy into the Ravens culture 100%. This is a personality guy. He's an ego guy. A lot of wide receivers are. Just is what it is. He wants his targets, right? And so I know a lot of fans understand the frustration from his end. Like, you brought me in, like I was a wide receiver 1 in Carolina. You brought me in here to be a wide receiver nothing, right? You brought me in here and you're treating me like a UDFA. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up to Diontae Johnson and what he really expected out of being a Raven. So again, I think it is really just a big miscommunication, misunderstanding between the two parties. But at this point, I think that the relationship between the two has been damaged a little bit too much, to the point where, like you said, I don't expect him to ever suit up as a Baltimore Raven. I think that those days are over, if I'm being honest. And, I think we're just looking forward to those comp picks. That's what it is at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Cam brings up a great point here. It doesn't help the Ravens receiver rep either. And yeah, he's not wrong there. I still think it was a good trade. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's a guy that John would ideally like to have. They probably, sat on it and like, well, who else is out there that we can get receiver-wise, and it's probably just Diontae or some other guy that's probably not going to help us as much. So I'm surprised, with Odell last year. I mean, we didn't see much from him. There wasn't any, subliminal tweets, Instagram posts, held him down pretty well. And then Diontae comes, and now it's like, World War III. So,
and I think Odell's kind of like. No, I was just gonna say like I think Odell's like in a different spot in his career than Deontay Johnson is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Odell, he's got a Super Bowl. He's one of the most popular players, if not still the most popular player in the league. He's a celebrity. He just is kind of like a mercenary who he can just get hired by any team at any given moment and go and compete for another championship. He's been doing that for the past couple of seasons. I feel like he's happy doing that. And also at the same time, they brought in Odell over the offseason, right? They didn't bring him in mid-season and, miscommunicate with him like what their expectations were with him. But no, I do also like you said, I like what Cam says here. Ravens have to hit on homegrown talent because it's not Lamar as to why wide receivers don't come to jump here or jump to come here. Tez Walker. Can we touch on Tez really quick? Tez Walker gets one catch for 21 yards, a touchdown. Come to find out, John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, Ravens offensive coaching staff, they knew they were drawing that up in practice all week, and they knew that Tez Walker might be open on a play like that. Going into the game, we knew that the Giants like to play a lot of single high safety. I haven't gone back and looked at the all 22 just yet. I actually don't even know if it's out yet on NFL.com. I'll have to check after this. It is? Okay. Yeah, I got to check it out. I don't know if they were in single high on that one, as that's how he was able to streak into the end zone so easily. But that guy is fast. He gets to his spot in a hurry, and that toe tap was just beautiful.
Nobody paid attention to him. He safety just let him walk right by him or run right by him. Nobody thought it was going to him, and they're probably like, who's this 81 guy? Didn't see him on film this past week. Doesn't come in the game at all offensively, so he's probably just a decoy. Nope. Ran up did what he was known for at UNC. He's fast, he's tall, and he got them feet down. So that's honestly nice to see. I wasn't expecting him to score a touchdown. That was not on my my bingo card. But I'm happy about it because now when he's in the game, you got to pay attention to him. I know it's one catch, but now you have an eye or two on him because he can get down the field pretty quick and he has some snazzy feet work as well.
Yeah, to me, quite simply, if I'm Lamar Jackson, the kid's earned another target, right? Yeah. He's earned the privilege of me looking his way, right? And actually legitimately trying to get him the football, because you just never know what you can get with some of these young guys, man. What happens if next week against the Steelers, he catches a jailbreak screen, right? And then he takes it up and breaks a tackle and gets like a nice 20-yard gain or something like that against the Steelers. What happens? You got to start incorporating him, weaving him into this offense a little bit more, because like you said earlier in the episode, you can never have too many weapons, right? And if we can develop this kid into a weapon, why not? Because I'll tell you one thing, Kyle Shanahan will be doing that right now. I'll tell you one thing, Ben Johnson will be doing that right now. Like other coaches around the league, like offensive minded coaches, are going to try to get their young guys involved. Hell, we even see it in Kansas City with Xavier Worthy. And I know he's a lot higher draft capital, but they're constantly trying to get him involved. Running the football, catching it, whatever they can do to get him off to the races. So, yeah, Killer Cam doesn't like my Shanahan take there. But listen, man, I'm just talking from offensive minded kind of teams, organization, coaches, right? They get their young guys involved. Anywho, okay, let's go ahead and talk about this MVP talk, right? I said we were going to touch on that. It's kind of really, really heating up. And Alex, I have a question for you. Is it the MVP voting, or is it the top 100 players where they vote sometime halfway through the season? I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it's the top 100 players that they do.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's a headache. This MVP talk. It's just a huge headache. This is Lamar Jackson's best season as a quarterback ever. Better than 2019, better than last year, and he won't win MVP. Why? Because they've seen this before. he's not going to win it because they don't want to vote the same guy back to back, unfortunately. And I think he's been the best quarterback in the league. I do. But when you have Josh Allen go out there and having 6 touchdowns in the game, they're going to look at that. So congrats, Josh Allen. You won it. I don't care. We went the Super Bowl, honestly. And I think that's how Lamar is too. So that's all I'm going to say. I just don't. Yeah, thank Shema said it. It's a here. You're happy. Damn, take it. Like you wanted it, have it. It's what's called voter fatigue. That's literally what it is. Lamar has 3 interceptions all year. But who can? We've seen it twice. We want something else different. Congrats, Josh Allen. You can have it. We'll get the other one.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to the Bills beating the Chiefs and the Lions, right? That's really all it is. And even with those 2 wins, I still believe that the Ravens have more wins against winning teams this season than the Bills do. So again, it's always down the stretch of the season, like around that week. I'd say week 11 to week, what are we in 15 now? Week 11 to week 15 is really where the MVP is decided. And in those weeks, Josh Allen has played really, really well. I think in his last 3 games, he's got over 1,000 yards passing, a bunch of touchdowns, no interceptions. The kid's playing really well. He's playing really, really well right now. And I definitely think that if you want to give him regular season MVP, sure, he can have it. Because I remember last year, Lamar Jackson really won MVP off of the Christmas game, right, against the 49ers, when the whole world got to watch that. And that really kind of solidified him as the MVP. And everybody was kind of talking about that. And the Dolphins game after that also added on to it. But with Josh Allen, he's got those 2 signature wins down the stretch of a season. He's playing really, really well. And I don't mind if they give it to him.
Yeah, I don't care. What I think is funny, I'm going to say it. My boy Goofball yesterday, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Nobody's talking about him. Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns. Oh, I mean, his MVP odds skyrocket. Like, if this is not the most, take it. I mean, stop bitching, Buffalo. Like, this is what they're doing. Like, how do your odds go up in a loss? And Jared Goff's don't. I don't get it. And Don brings a great point. Lions might be fraudulent. That Lions defense he was playing yesterday, 2021 Ravens. Look how many I words they have. They have a stacked defense full of players hurt right now. There's a tweet out there with the amount of players they have hurt. I'm going to leave it at that. They have both their starting quarterbacks hurt. Aiden Hutchinson, to me, a top 5 defensive player in the league, hurt. Starting safety Ifeatu Melifonwu, hurt. Carlton Davis, broken jaw. Aleem McNeil, hurt. Alex Anzalone, hurt. They have probably Robert Jackson and Kevon Seymour out there as DB 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But
the Lions might be cooked.
Oh, they are. They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them. I mean, but honestly, even still, I gotta tip my cap to the Bills for winning that game yesterday. I mean, the Lions were on absolute fire. What, like 10, 11 wins straight, something like that. And yes, they're beaten up, they're battered now, but they came into that game with a lot of confidence at home, and the Bills came in there and really just let them have it. Josh Allen played really well again. So like I said again, if you want to give Josh Allen the MVP, sure. I do think that if the Ravens would have beaten either the Steelers or the Eagles earlier in the season, we'd be having a slightly different conversation right now. But I think those 2 losses, right? Those are the 2 best teams that they've played in the past month and a half, probably, I would say, right? With those 2 losses, I think that the voters kind of took a step back from Lamar Jackson, right? And said, okay, maybe we can look a little bit elsewhere. Oh, what is Josh Allen doing? Oh, he's beating the Chiefs, and now he's beating the Lions. And we only got a couple weeks left in the season, and they might contest for the 1 seed. It's and they already got their division wrapped up. I think that they're gonna go ahead and give it to Josh. They're gonna give it to Josh.
This is a crazy butterfly effect because it's all stems from Justin Tucker missing a couple of kicks. It really does. If he makes a couple of kicks and say we're 11, 12 wins right now, I think it's a whole different story. So unfortunately, that's just how the way the cookie crumbles, and here we are talking about an MVP. So it's all good.
Yeah. So I know we're gonna go ahead and end with the just playoff outlook, right? A little bit update at the standings right now. Say again.
If anybody has any questions, you can throw them in the comments.
Oh yeah, drop some questions down below in the chat. Yes. Ask questions in the chat. We'd appreciate that. We got 260 people watching live right now. This episode 284 of the Purple Rain podcast. Hello, good evening to each and every one of y'all.
You exactly. See that for us crashing out.
You're right. Shout out to all y'all coming through to this episode of the show. My name is Sutton Def. That is simply AS10, as you might know. We are the Purple Rain podcast. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you are over on YouTube. If you're watching on Instagram, shout out to you. We appreciate you just as much. Okay. So let me see. Sean brought it up. He said, can we talk about the playoff outlook? The playoff outlook right now. I think that have the standings changed at all since yesterday?
I don't think so because Broncos won. I think the Broncos overtook the Chargers, or I think maybe the Chargers were always 7 seed, but Broncos are now the 6 seed. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, you've got Chiefs 1 seed, Bills 2 seed, Steelers 3 seed, Texans 4, Ravens 5, Broncos 6, Chargers 7 seed. Okay, so again, it's still kind of looking like we're in position to play Houston as it stands right now. So in terms of the playoff outlook, honestly, again, I don't think we can really expect too much. I know you guys hear my dog barking in the background. He probably misses me. We're going to wrap soon here. But I can honestly say, like I said earlier in the show, the Ravens have to beat the Steelers on Saturday or else none of this matters, right? None of it matters. You know, because if you lose to the Steelers and you get swept by them yet again, right, you're going to go into the playoffs with kind of like that boogeyman mentality. Like, yeah, we might be able to get past the Houston Texans, but as soon as we run into the Steelers or the Chiefs, it's tough. And I know the whole saying about playing a team 3 times in a season, right, and what that can mean on that third matchup, especially if the first 2 go one team's way. But I don't know, man. See, because the difference between what we saw yesterday against the New York Giants and what we're going to see against the Pittsburgh Steelers, not only on Saturday, but potentially in the playoffs as well. And the same thing goes for the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson was under a little bit of pressure yesterday, right? He was able to evade pressure in certain spots and make big plays as he normally does down the field. My only thing is those windows down the field shrink way, way smaller when we're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs, you know. So again, this Saturday is going to be all about, like Roquan Smith said, this is like this check your manhood game, right? You have to stand up here. You have to be more physical. You have to show why the Ravens are a for real team coming down the stretch of this season. But that's my playoff outlook right now. I can't really look too far into the playoffs until we take care of business on Saturday against the Steelers. What are your thoughts?
Taking it one game at a time. I'm right there with you. I don't want to hear any talking from the Ravens this week. I don't want to hear any freaking rah-rah if you're on a Ravens. I don't care about that. Go win a Saturday. Just find a way to win. I think the magic number is 21 points. If we can get 21 points, I think we can win this game. Because we just have a hard time scoring against the Steelers as well. And I saw today on X say this is the second game Lamar is playing in the bank against the Steelers, which is crazy. 2018, we already played him. 2019, he's not playing. He's bench. 2020 is the only time we played him at home. 21, hurt. 22, hurt, I think. Yeah, 22 hurt. 23, he was bench. And now it's this time. So second time he's playing him at home. Let's not have a repeat of the first. Let's go out there and win it. But yeah, we'll have more on Thursday. It's the preview episode. The Ravens-Steelers matchup on Saturday at 4:25.
Yes. We're getting to that point in the season where we're having regular season games on Saturdays, right? That's always fun. Always fun.
Thick of it now.
Yeah. Garnett says, as crazy as this sounds, would you guys rather be the 5th seed or the 3rd seed? To be honest with you, I would take the 5th seed. So yeah, if we go 5th seed, looks like we'd be playing Houston. If we take the 3rd seed, we'd probably be playing Denver. Either one of those in the wild card round. Again, I don't really have any real fears for either of those teams. But if I had to choose, I would probably go with the Broncos, to be honest with you. Um, the Texans, I feel like they have a little bit higher of a ceiling right now. Second year CJ Stroud. They're starting to come around just a little bit. But I'd probably want to go against Denver. So I agree with you, Garnett. What do you think?
I would like the home playoff game, just one of them, to kind of get us in a good environment, good setting. As for the fifth, I mean, I like either matchup, but
Yeah.
I saw Bo Nix make a couple of mistakes yesterday. I think the Ravens would capitalize on them, unlike the Colts, and they didn't. I don't think a running back would drop the ball before he crosses the plane. I don't think we'd make stupid
Oh.
stuff like that. I think, yeah, that is
Oof.
so frustrating to me. You know, I mean, that's why I know Derrick Henry doesn't celebrate for him to celebrate, but he's just an all ball, all business guy. You know, he's not going to sit there and
Yeah.
run and drop the ball, you know, before he crosses the plane. No, he's going to make sure he's in there and then he'll drop the ball. But that is just one of the most infuriating things for me. You know, like, come on, man, like don't drop it, freaking drop it. But
I
I would
saw
like the
somebody tweet
Broncos.
today. I saw some real quick. I saw somebody tweet today about when players drop the ball before crossing the goal line. Somebody said like, what if we just like stop reviewing those plays? Because like, who cares if like they were clearly gonna score anyway? And somebody really said that on Twitter today, and I was just like, kind of taken aback by it because I'm just like, what? Because I mean, what are we
That
saying here?
that kind of that changed the trajectory of the game. I thought yesterday after Jonathan Allen dropped it. I think it was
Yeah,
a game, and then he drops it. Broncos get the ball back, and the rest is history. But all right,
yeah,
okay, dude.
JT. I don't know how they
This is
dropped
why
that.
you can't. Yeah, this is X, the bird
Yeah,
app. That's all I'm gonna say.
X for you. Okay, let me see. We have a couple more questions here before we wrap. Let me see. Chris Grammer says, should we eat more clock? This is a good question. Looking at the time of possession from yesterday's game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Giants, the Ravens possessed the ball 28 minutes and 58 seconds of the game, while the Giants possessed the ball 31 minutes and 2 seconds. Uh, I think that the Ravens offense is just very, very efficient. I think that we had less time of possession. We're getting less time of possession because we're getting kind of these chunk plays, right? Bateman down the field for a big touchdown early in the game, and just the way how fast we're able to get down the field as well. Like when the Ravens offense is on, it really doesn't take much. It doesn't take long either, you know. Now in the playoffs in December, would I want to keep the football away from the likes of a Patrick Mahomes and, Josh Allen and all those other guys? Of course I would. And that's why I think, again, we're going to utilize Derrick Henry and remember the whole entire reason why we brought him to Baltimore in the first place. So in playoff games, late in those games, we can run the football. We can kind of lean on teams, control the clock, run it out, get the W. So, yeah, I do think we should eat more clock. I just think that we're kind of, I don't know, beating up on some lower teams right now, but in the playoffs is going to be a lot more important to eat the clock. So I agree, Chris. Yes, we do.
Yeah, get a lead, score early, score often, and then grind out drives. Make the defense just freaking tired and make the offense rusty. Force a turnover, bring the defense back in the field, wear them down some more, score another touchdown. That's what I want to see in the playoffs. I don't want it to be pretty. It can be ugly, but a win is a win in the playoffs. We just need 4 of them because we're not getting the bye. So 4 of them,
Yeah.
and then you win a Super Bowl.
Yep. And it's good. It feels like the Ravens players are saying it feels like the start of a new season. I think Roquan Smith said something like that. So I'm just glad Ravens football is back, man. And we're back in the win column. Let me see. Jabari says this Saturday is all about the Ravens letting the Steelers know that we are tired of losing to y'all. Like, again, manhood game. And if we're feeling like that as fans, imagine how those players feel. You know how Ravens players all the time, they'll say like, oh, you're not actually a real Raven until you beat the Steelers. Some of those guys aren't real Ravens, by that quote, right? I'm not literally speaking, but like that's the mentality that those guys have when it comes to the Ravens Steelers rivalry. Like you got to beat those guys.
Our whole receiving core. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
Whole receiving core hasn't beat. Yeah. When you actually like deep it, it's a lot of players. Wow.
Absolutely, man.
Wow.
I know. That's the crazy thing. That's why we need this win more than anything. I feel like this really,
And
really kind of galvanizes the troops. Yeah, go ahead.
and I hate to say it, like it doesn't really lock up the division, but if the Steelers were to beat us at home, it all but locks up the division for them. So are you going to
Yeah.
allow your number one rival, your arch nemesis, to walk into your building, into your home, and eat the food on your plate and win the division in front of your fans? A little ode to Mike Warren there. Are you really going to
Yeah.
do that? And that's why this game means so much more than just it'll just show me just the mentality of this team and where they're at, and if they're ready for a deep playoff run, or if it's, hate to say it, the same old Ravens.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the kind of the mantra this week needs to be who's ready to become a Raven? Who's ready to become a Raven, right? Because you damn sure have to play like a Raven in order to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because again, these teams just know each other so well. Like I said, the difference between playing a team like the Giants and the Steelers, like, yeah, Lamar Jackson can still escape the pocket and, you know, try to make plays downfield, but those windows are a lot tighter when you're playing against the Steelers and you're playing against the Chiefs. So what are the Ravens prepared to do? Exactly. What are the Ravens prepared to do? We will see. Michael Pierce is back, showed up big time, stopping the run. Tyrone Tracy was getting his a little bit early in the game, but I like how they kind of shut that down going forward, especially after they got down a little bit. But yes, the Ravens did cover their 16.5 point spread. But with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it here for this episode 284 of the Purple Rain podcast. Again, thank y'all so much for coming through. We still have almost 280 people watching live. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. You can follow me there at Sutton Def. If you're watching this on X right now, it is on my account. You can just go ahead and hit follow. You can follow this guy over here on Twitter at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. And like we led the episode with, you can follow us both on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. And Manscaped, while, you know, holidays is not right around the corner, holidays are here. It might be too late to order something and get it on time, right? But it's worth a shot. Like you said, there's other holidays around the corner. And of course, you can always get a late gift or something for yourself. So make sure you go on manscaped.com, use our code PRP. You're going to get 20% off whatever you want on that website, plus the free international shipping. And we'd appreciate you guys if you guys go ahead and do that. And again, like the video. My name is Sutton Duff again. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to this Victory Monday episode of Purple Rain Podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes. And never, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been another episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.